your hood. Your battery could be toast. So pick up a Napa Legend battery today, and you'll get a $15 rebate Visa card by mail. That's $15 back and a new battery. In case your old one gets fried. That's Napa Know-How. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Some exclusions apply. Offer expires 7/31/16.
Geico applauds your inner ride leader.
An enthusiastic engine rev goes out to the biker in you who leads the pack. Even if that pack is a party of one, you're still a leader to Geico. To prove it, Geico will insure your motorcycle with great rates and 24/7 customer service. And with Geico by your side, you're never cruising solo, which means you've just been nominated as a real ride leader. Congrats! The smell of fine leather and trailblazing is in your future.
Geico Motorcycle. See how much you could save.
Today in Florida Ag News, I'm a Southeast AgNet. From time to time, landowners ask the question, what do you do next when it comes to replanting pines? Well, according to an article from Arlo Kane, the Northwest Region Conservation Planning Coordinator for the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, if you're going to replant pines in your cutover, you have two basic options here in Florida. You can plant longleaf pine or you can plant slash or loblolly pines. He said if you have drier, sandy soils, then longleaf is your best choice as it grows better than any other pine in sandy soils with the exception of sand pine. But he did say longleaf pine can cost more on the front end to establish, but it does recoup the cost all along the way. A longleaf forest can be leased to hunters for more money because it makes better wildlife habitat. Of course, for more information, there are a variety of resources to help you establish, restore, and manage longleaf pine. USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service can give financial and technical assistance to plant longleaf pine in Florida. To learn more, just contact your local NRCS office.
Attention citrus growers, production managers, industry decision makers. The 25th Annual Citrus Expo is set for August 17th and 18th at the Lee Civic Center, Fort Myers. Don't wait. Pre-register now at citrusexpo.net. All pre-registered growers are eligible to win a John Deere gun safe provided by Everglades Farm Equipment. Citrus Expo, sponsored in part by Tessenderlo Curley, Dow AgroSciences, Plant Food Systems, the Citrus Research and Development Foundation, Fresh from Florida, Keyplex, and New Farm. Get all the details at citrusexpo.net and in Citrus Industry Magazine.
Producers, save big this growing season when you make the switch to a clean, efficient propane irrigation engine. First, you'll save up to 40% on the purchase compared with an equivalent diesel engine. Then save up to 50% on operating costs. Finally, you can say goodbye to high maintenance costs. Propane engines are EPA and Tier 4 compliant without any of the expensive fluids or filters required for diesel. Add it all up, and propane is second only to rain when it comes to savings. Learn more about making the switch to propane at propane.com/agriculture.
Randall Wiseman, Southeast AgNet.
Get it for less at the DIY Home Center outlet. Get top quality real wood cabinets the same or less than the big box stores are selling the cheap stuff. And that's not all. Drywall screws big box stores are $6.47 a pound. At DIY, only $4.99. Plus, DIY has the largest selection of mobile home parts and accessories anywhere. From carpet to doors, get the DIY supplies you need for less. The DIY Home Center outlet. We are your building material closeout store. 2191 Northwest 10th Street, just 2 miles east of I-75.
Hospice of Marion County has an urgent need for volunteers to share a conversation with someone, run errands, hold someone's hand. All you need is a willingness to help others. Our volunteers believe the blessings they receive far exceed the services they offer. Will you consider serving, caring, and making a difference? Call today, 873-7441. Hospice of Marion County, making more moments of life possible.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala!
All right, 5 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. It is a beautiful Thursday morning. Do you know one thing gets under my skin, Robin?
What's that?
Like when you're having an argument with somebody who doesn't believe the same as you do, and they will say, "Well, I'm progressive," and it's to apply that I'm not, or like an argument with an atheist, and I have some atheist friends, and I respect them and everything, and they don't usually do this, I guess because I've snapped at them a couple times, but they will say, sometimes they'll say to me, not these. The ones I know, but people I don't know, they'll say, or on the radio show here, they'll say, well, I'm a logical person. Well, what does that mean? Just because I believe in God, I'm not logical?
Mm-hmm.
To me, it makes all the logic in the world. And it's almost as if to say, you haven't thought this through enough, whether it's about boys using the girls' room or about, whether there's a God or about anything. It's like, well, yes, I have thought it through. What do you mean I haven't thought it through? John Horvat II has been with us before. He is a scholar, a researcher, an educator, an international speaker. He's a contributor to the Washington Times, the Wall Street Journal, The Blaze. Of course, we have Glenn back on in the afternoons. The Christian Post, Fox News, American Thinker, Crisis, the vice president and a member of the board of directors for the American Society for the Defense of Tradition. His book is called Return to Order, From a Frenzied Economy to an Organic Christian Society, Where We've Been, How We Got Here, and Where We Need to Go. And the topic, it says on my notes here, the bathroom wars, not about bathrooms, but about war. Yeah, I can see that. There's a story today. Where was that story? Mm-hmm. There's something the Supreme Court is going to look at today, I guess, from the state of Virginia. John Horvat, good morning, sir. How are you?
Great to be on the show.
Yeah, where are you? Where are you calling from?
Pennsylvania, York, Pennsylvania, just near Gettysburg, that area.
Yeah, how do the Amish people think about this whole bathroom thing?
I never really asked them because I would imagine they would just say, well, that's one more reason why I'm where I am and you're where you are.
Yeah, maybe. I don't want anybody to be uncomfortable, but I don't, and I know we're not going to focus on that particular one, but in that particular one, I mean, I'm an open-minded guy. Mm-hmm. I'm for everything, but when you realize that you're opening, Robin and I went to a thing in Chattanooga, a convention. Mm-hmm. And the ladies' room at the convention center, the Chattanooga Convention Center, they had put up a makeshift sign, and the ladies' room said gender-neutral bathroom.
Yes.
The men's room was just men.
Right.
And I said to them, why don't you do it the other way around? Because men don't care who's in their bathroom, but women care.
Yeah.
Right. No, it is crazy. I mean, it's just, you really just wonder, well, once you say anybody can go into any bathroom, those signs don't make any they just don't make sense.
They don't make sense. And then to expand it to the shower. Now you're in a high school, and you have a boy who thinks he's a girl, and mm-hmm. he's in the girl shower. What? Yeah.
I just don't like that.
And then here's the argument. Oh, they do it this way in Europe. Okay. What is that? How does that a strong argument?
We're not a follower. We're a
they use chopsticks in China.
That's right. Exactly.
It's crazy. It is actually crazy, and it's just. I mean, it's not about bathrooms. That's what I say. It's all about a war. War.
I think you're right. Now, some things I think in our history needed to be changed. Obviously, we made some mistakes, and people who spoke up about those mistakes helped us become a better nation. But there are, I think, some things that the Amish have got it right. Like the salad and the cheese. Mm-hmm. So, what kind of things do you focus on mostly in Return to Order?
Well, it deals a lot about with these cultural topics, because it talks about how our economy, our culture, and our moral values all come together and need to come together, because they do influence one the other. Adam Smith was not a economist; he was a moral philosopher, and we've gone a long way since then.
The Founding Fathers didn't all agree on religion either, but they did agree on the motto, "In God We Trust." Or am I wrong about that?
I'm not sure it was already on our currency at that time or not, but they certainly agreed that religion is a very, very important aspect of keeping order in society and keeping balance. And they would be against this iron curtain of separation between church and state. They definitely saw opportunities of cooperation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's interesting to read, what the struggles were back then, and apply it to what we're doing today. And I think the conclusion they came up with is illustrated in the Constitution that resulted from all of those debates. And the Constitution pretty much said, look, you have the right to be free, and of course at that time black people weren't free, white women in general couldn't vote, and those things had to be fixed. But But now it's gone crazy, and now the whole gun issue, the Second Amendment is being challenged every time you hear of a shooting.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It is. I mean, and it's. I think you have to fit all this into a process, and not just see it each one as a separate event that has no relation to any other. And so, the bathroom wars is a process leading to the destruction of all sexual taboos and anything that's any type of restraint upon our human condition that you need to have. You need to have certain restraints because not everybody can do everything they want.
And people are moving from reality into a fantasy world, and to me that's just wrong.
Oh, absolutely. And this is a perfect example because you are saying, well, reality and facts and identity are no longer restraints, which is the most basic restraints you have. When you realize there are no limits, you can imagine yourself to be anything you want to be or identify yourself as anything you want to be, and that's dangerous.
What do you think of the fact that people have become pretty skilled at propaganda? I mean, people are very good at this. They know exactly what to post on their Facebook pages, whether it's a video or a textual thing. Some of the things you can look up on Snopes that are not true. Other things they are true, but they're out of context. And we've become very good at being propagandists. Do you think that is contributing a lot to what's going on?
Right, because especially in our fast-paced, world where the tweet is considered a very profound statement. And, everything is just really very, very quick, and you don't have time to verify. You don't have time to think it out and to ponder upon those things. And so you can create narratives very easily, and narratives based on simply not based on reality. And I think the narrative, like what happened in Dallas, is there's a huge narrative saying a genocide is going on, but you look at the actual figures and the actual things that are happening, it has absolutely no comparison, nothing to do with reality.
And the individual person doesn't really have to suffer the consequences because they can make anything up and say, no, it's this way, so I've got an out. So I don't have to be responsible for my actions.
Right. I mean, it used to be if you thought something that was really crazy, people said you're crazy. But now, you think something's very crazy. Society has to enable it and make it happen, and put the signs up on the door.
Yeah. We have a local congresswoman who was indicted on a bunch of charges.
28
actually,
charges.
And she's an African American lady, and now she's saying that she's being picked. She's had these charges thrown at her because of her race.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, wow, you can't even break the law anymore.
Exactly. Without blaming it.
I don't know what to do about that. It just seems unfair that you can. I mean, if she's telling the truth that she didn't do anything, and they're just throwing these charges at her willy-nilly because of her race, then why aren't they doing it to other people of color that have done nothing?
Exactly.
Right. I mean, it is. It just you can explain everything away, and and especially those things which require virtue, because virtue's hard, and we live in a society that says, well, no, everything should be easy, and virtue doesn't need to be considered.
John Horvat II is our guest. His book is called Return to Order. We'll continue with the conversation on the other side of the break. And there is a way to get the book. It's returntoorder.org, and I'm sure there are other ways. We'll find out how on the other side of the break. This is The Source.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Sunny to partly cloudy today. A thunderstorm around this afternoon and evening. High 89 to 92. Partly cloudy tonight, low 72 to 75. Tomorrow and Saturday, sunshine and patchy clouds. There'll be an afternoon and evening thunderstorm in some places, highs of 89 to 93. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Heather Zayer.
Hi, my name is Erica Olstein. I'm a doctor of acupuncture and oriental medicine. Do you have a gout-ridden toe or bowels that move too slow, creaky knees, or how about an asthmatic wheeze? Then acupuncture is sure to please. Come visit me, your primary care physician, Erica Olstein at A Better You Healthcare. Call me at 352-615-5566. That's 352-615-5566.
Want to learn more about your furnace or air conditioner? Tune in this Saturday for free tips and expert advice on how to get the most out of your heating and air conditioning system. Or get a free AC rejuvenation by being the first person to go to cleanmyac.com. That's cleanmyac.com. Saturday, free tips and expert advice how to get the most out of your heating and air conditioning system. Or get a free AC rejuvenation by being the first person to go to cleanmyac.com. That's cleanmyac.com.
All right, 16 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in to The Source. Looks like it's going to be another hot day. 95 is the expected high today. 111 the expected heat index. Right now it's 86, and the heat index is already 98. So just stay cool, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I was just thinking during the break? John Horvat II is our guest. His book is called Return to Order, and we were talking about the bathroom wars, etc. The founding fathers, I mean, back in their days, the bathroom was an outhouse. And I'm wondering, like, if they heard about this issue today, they would be saying, well, why did you ever separate them in the first place?
Yeah.
Didn't one person use the outhouse at a time? Wasn't that how it worked?
Yeah, there's only one stall there. Maybe two if you're rich.
So one stall thing, it was not a... well, I mean, yeah, it's exactly that. It's not as if everybody was in it together.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'd be saying, well, why did you ever separate? You were in the studio, Robin. You reminded me. That's right. I forgot that you were in here. That's right.
Yeah, about last September or something. Yeah, it was great. There at that mall, the mall.
Right, at the Paddock Mall. Let me allow some listeners to say a word or two. Good morning. Thank you for calling. You're on the air with John Horvat.
Good morning. Our founding fathers, first four presidents, and Benjamin Franklin have all expressed the fact that, for example, God gave us life, God gave us liberty. Can the liberties of a nation be secure when we have removed the conviction that these liberties are a gift of God? It's just amazing to me how everything is thrown aside for political correctness or convenience of a super minority. I mean,
that's a very good...
That's putting it mildly for these people that think that bathrooms are made for everybody and showers, are no big deal.
Yeah.
I'll hang up and listen. Thank you.
Thank you, John. You were saying?
No, I think that's a great point, especially the founding fathers. I just came up with found a quote that I just never imagined Thomas Jefferson would say, but I mean, this is his quote. He says, "Indeed, I tremble for my country when I reflect that God is just, and his justice cannot sleep forever." I mean, that's Thomas Jefferson,
Justice cannot sleep forever. Wow.
I love that.
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah, I didn't realize he said that, but I just, read it just recently and just separated it. I said, well, that, shows that he was not just a religious neutral out there.
Do you think that if we surrendered and we said, okay, you know what? Yeah, you can use the bathroom. Go ahead. Use the boys' room, use the girl, whatever you want. If we surrendered, it sounds like what you're saying is something else would pop up because they're not happy unless there's a war.
Right, it is. It's a process. I mean, that was pretty much what happened after the same-sex marriage battle. Everybody thought, well, we lost, and nothing will happen for another couple years, and here it is, not even a year, and we're already changing bathrooms. So it is, I think, a process where the next step might be a lot of these sexual restraints, or well, you can marry whoever you want to, you can marry several people, or age restraints. All these things are all restraints that
look at San Francisco. San Francisco, people can walk around naked in the streets.
Yeah.
And
that's right.
I was watching this video on this, and at the city hall when they were discussing it, these women took off their fur coats and they started parading through the room, and the bailiffs and all them were trying to cover them up, and I said, "Wow, that wouldn't be too bad if these ladies were walking around." And
they were Playboy models.
They were pretty, and I'm trying to be I'm trying to be funny here. But then when you actually see the actual people who actually do this, they're leather-skinned, flabby, skinny, ugly guys.
But it's just that's it, because the idea is restraint, because they don't believe they believe individuals have no obligation to society. They should not be restrained, and no society can survive if by taking care of all the whims of individuals. It just simply won't be able to do it. We can't afford it.
And I think that there's too much political correctness these days. I mean, people have to be so careful they can't even carry on an intelligent dialogue without first weighing the words before it comes out of their mouth.
Right. It's a type of censorship, when you come down to it, and it really is inhibiting because you really can't say what you want to, what you think.
Do you think a president really has much effect on any of these things? The president always addresses them, but the country is kind of like running around doing whatever it wants to do, and the president comments on these things, but I don't think the president has much to say about it.
Well, I mean, he is the moral leader of the country. He is the one that is the figurehead that is a leader, and this particular president does execute a lot of executive orders that do have some power of law. That is rather disturbing. But he shouldn't. The main role of the president is guidance, is to be that moral leader, to be a role model, etc., for imitation.
I think being a leader, whether it's the city council or the president of the United States, I think it's more important than the legislation that is talked about. And I think being a leader, well, maybe not more important, but as important. I think you're right. You have to take a position. Ronald Reagan was one of those people who he made his statements about what was going on in the world, and it wasn't necessarily about a law that was going to be passed. It was just, here's my position on it.
Right, and it is a unifying factor. That should be the role, at least, let's say, of a president, is to unify and to find ways of working together. And we certainly haven't been successful in doing that over the last couple of terms.
How do these things that we're talking about, they're all moral, they're all cultural and social, but how do they affect the economy?
Oh, it definitely does, because economy is based on decisions and based on realities. And when you have a culture that denies realities, especially financial realities, we definitely have problems. It's what I call in the book Return to Order frenetic intemperance. This wanting of everything now, instantly, regardless of the consequences. And when you have that type of mentality and a limited checkbook, it's a recipe for disaster.
And what's really sad is that when people are canvassing to be an elected politician, whether from a local standpoint to the President of the United States, they're trying to be everything to everybody instead of just showing off, what they really are inside, what they really believe in.
Right, it's sort of what I call a cookie jar election. Everybody wants something to the cookie, and a cookie, and then the candidate says, "Look, I got a big jar here, and you can get this, you can get that, you can get everything," and that's not reality.
Do as far as keeping things the way they've always been, I mean, there's a lot to be argued about that. You don't necessarily want everything to stay the same. Obviously, the arts and music and things like that, they would be stagnant if they didn't have new people giving new ideas and applying it. Architecture is another great example. But there are some things that are kind of weird that you're trying to figure out. One of them is the droopy drawers thing.
Yeah.
How did that get started?
Exactly.
Why is that acceptable?
Right, I know. You definitely, fashions and arts and crafts and literature, they're all means of expression of a people, and it's the healthiness of a people is to have a very strong art, fashion, etc. Fields. But what we see today is just beyond the pale, because the arts should elevate, should bring people up to think about higher things, think about beauty, etc. And a lot of times we see the opposite. Just that which is comfortable, that which is just, I don't really care how I look, and I don't really care if I offend people by how I look. And that's not part of living in society. Society requires that we do care.
Can other...
I think that's probably...
Oh, go ahead.
That's probably why we lack civility today, because people just simply don't care what other people think about them or want them to impress them.
It seems like other cultures could benefit from your book too, even though it's not, totally directed at them, but through the growing of the United States, it seems like there are some pieces that can be taken for the good.
Oh, definitely. There has been a lot of interest outside the country. I'm working on some translations into German and Italian, etc., and hopefully they'll pan through. But yeah, definitely a lot of people who from outside the country who've read the book have really liked it, even though it is in an American context, and say, yeah, that pretty much applies here too.
Well, and so much of what was started by the Founding Fathers definitely had an effect on the rest of the world. It takes time, but we've seen Germany go from this horrible situation to a pretty nice country now. Japan, same thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Have a lot. Even Vietnam has turned around completely,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't know politically how they have, but it seems like culturally they're on the right track. John, how do we get the book?
You can go to www.returntoorder.org. That's the best way. In fact, we just published a new soft cover edition, and we're offering free copies there. For a limited time. It's just the bare bones edition of it, but it's a nice. It has everything in it, and you can get your copy there. Returntoorder.org.
There's no real debates in the news right now, presidential debates. But what do you think about the debates themselves? I always look at debates because I hear you, and I remember when you were here before. You're an intelligent debater. Like even if you and I were to disagree, you would listen to me. And then you would say something to make your point to try to counter mine, and I would give you the same respect. That's not what happens in debates, though. And I think the whole debate arena has been corrupted too. They don't even debate like you learned how to debate in debate class back in high school.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I remember that. And absolutely, it's a circus now. It's entertainment, and we've turned everything into entertainment, and the debates are almost like a professional wrestling match.
Really are. And we have some third-party candidates, quote unquote, because there's several thirds. But they're not getting the press. That's, as always in years past. I mean, with a few exceptions, like Ross Perot and a few others that made the headlines in the third party. Any third party candidates that you are liking? You don't have to name them, but do you like any of them?
I'm not. I haven't really looked into them all, as profoundly as I'd like to. So I'm sure there are some good ones, and I think the third party candidates have a role in the elections because they do represent people that can't be represented by the others, and I'm definitely going to look at it.
Well, and in the Glenn Beck program, he hasn't yet, but it sounds like we listen to him every day because we are an affiliate. And with you being on the Blaze, I was wondering with that connection, if I don't know, it seems like they're leading toward a third-party candidate, even though he hasn't come out and said it yet.
Right. Yeah, nobody's really happy with any of the candidates. I think a lot of people, at least, are not happy on both sides. So it is a very strange election this year.
Well, always good to have you on the air. If you're ever in the area, we'd love to have you back in the studio. Go to returntoorder.org, and that's where you will get the book, Return to Order. John Horvat, thank you for being on the air with us today.
It's been great.
All right, we will be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Karen McHugh. Tomorrow morning, we should know who Donald Trump's running mate will be.
Trump has been holding a flurry of meetings with finalists, including with Indiana Governor Mike Pence, who calls himself a Christian, a conservative, and a Republican in that order.
I'm honored to be considered and humbled.